Right now at 10, new video of the fatal ICE shooting in Minneapolis. Local demonstrators speak out.
And a new proposal aiming to regulate data centers in Wisconsin, how it could impact your energy bill.
Plus, just one sleep away from Packers playoff football. News 8 is in Chicago ahead of the historic showdown.
You're watching WKDT La Crosse. This is News 8 Now at 10.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for News 8 Now at 10. I'm Emily Brown.
And I'm Ken Kozarowski. The NFL playoffs begin tomorrow and all eyes will be on Chicago as the Packers are set to take on the Bears.
News 8 Now's Kate Overton reports from the Windy City ahead of the big game. Kate.
Guys, it's the night before the big game and the energy here in Chicago is alive. The Packers and Bears facing off in the postseason for just the third time in both of the historic franchises' history. The last time these two teams faced off back in 2011 when the Packers beat the Bears to go to the Super Bowl. Willie Lills is a Packer bar in the heart of Chicago. It's a packed house for Green Bay game days, and Saturday night is being described as their Super Bowl.
Grew up in Chicago, so I'm Chicago born, Chicago raised, lived in Milwaukee for about 15 years, and that's where, my love for the Packers really got rooted. I have to replace the flags a few more times each year just because they go missing, but it's always energetic. It's a great experience, and the Packer fans show up. Win, lose, or draw, the Packer fans come out to support us at Willie Lills.
Packer fans spread all over the country, but being a fan in your biggest rival's hometown makes for a few challenging friendships.
I gave them two options. I told them I'll either wear the Bears jersey if we lose, or I'd buy them drinks. So we'll see, one or the other, whichever they take.
Vibes are high here tonight, but we'll see what they're like tomorrow. Maybe a few sad Packer fans, maybe a few sad Bears fans. Wild Card Football Round 1, Green Bay versus Chicago at 7 o'clock on Prime Video.
Thank you, Kate. And remember to stay with News 8 for coverage from Chicago tomorrow. Kate will be live at Soldier Field before the game.
Well, once again, a kind of a mild day for January if we had all that rainfall, 1 to 2 inches of rainfall, which is quite a lot of rainfall to see early January. But this evening has been quiet conditions, back in the 20s for most areas. We've fallen back down there. That's the good news. We do have a little bit more light snow on the way. It's a cold front right now just developing a band just west of Minneapolis too. So it's going to be several hours yet till it gets into our area. But that's one that we'll be tracking. It's associated with that cold front that is out to the west with a low pressure to the north. So we do have colder air with that. But the good news is that colder air really just brings our temperatures back to average really for the weekend. So we will have that band come through for La Crosse, probably get out of here about 6 a.m. We'll have more showers coming back in the afternoon, but for the most part, it should be mainly dry with some sunshine, if I could speak, coming out to about noon. Now for Eau Claire, that snow will probably end about 4 a.m. before it shifts east, and we'll have a little bit of breaks in the clouds, getting up to 25. But notice also the wind starts picking up behind this, so that'll be a feature for Saturday afternoon for both locations. Once again, we do have colder but average temperatures this weekend, but it's not going to last long. We got 40s right back in the forecast next week, so we'll explain all that a bit later.
All right. Thank you, Greg.
New developments in the deadly ICE shooting in Minneapolis. New video released shows Renee Good inside the SUV and her wife outside the vehicle talking to the ICE officer before the shooting. Another officer orders Good out of the SUV and she starts to drive. CBS News confirmed the agent who shot Good is Jonathan Ross, who has worked with ICE in Minnesota for nearly a decade.
Federal authorities also are investigating a shooting involving federal agents in Portland, Oregon. Border Patrol shot 2 people during a targeted vehicle stop. Homeland Security officials say they were both, quote, illegal aliens and suspected associates of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. They also allegedly weaponized their vehicle against the agents.
I'm saddened that we are here once again in a difficult, challenging, complex situation.
Both of those victims were hospitalized. Their conditions are unclear.
The shootings drawing a bigger crowd to the weekly protest at City Hall. About 50 people gathered, and it's just one of hundreds of protests across the country, calling on ICE to leave the cities as tensions continue to increase.
I think people need to wake up, and we need to see each other as human beings, because this is not okay.
Protests have also started tonight in Madison and Milwaukee.
A new legislative proposal is aiming at regulating data centers in Wisconsin.
Catherine Merck reports from Madison on its impact on energy costs as they expand across the state.
We just want to make sure that there are protections in place.
According to this proposal from GOP lawmakers, the Public Service Commission of Wisconsin would need to make sure families and businesses won't pay for data center energy use. Tom Content with the Citizens Utility Board says it's time for these companies to be regulated.
As the consumer advocate, we're there to trying to make sure that if these do happen, that we're thinking about potential worst case scenarios and having the kind of protections in place to make sure customers aren't left holding the bag.
The proposal would require water used by a data center for cooling purposes be contained in a closed loop cooling system. It states data centers must report the amount of water they use to the State Department of Natural Resources. Data centers are proving to be controversial as plans pop up all over Wisconsin. According to a Marquette University Law School poll from October, 55% of voters statewide say the costs of large data centers are greater than the benefits they provide, while 44% say the opposite.
The reason there's such interest in this is because energy costs are rising.
In November, Democrats proposed a bill that would try to establish rules for these centers. This week, State Rep Francesca Hong, a Democratic candidate for governor, called for a moratorium on AI data center construction.
There needs to be a statewide framework.
Content does have an issue with part of the GOP proposal that says any renewable energy facility that primarily services the data center should be located on site.
There's not enough room to put millions and millions of solar panels on the site of a data center.
Content says ultimately lawmakers on both sides of the aisle should regulate large companies and protect Wisconsin families.
It's important that there is a concerted focus on this, both by the utilities and by the legislature.
Also happening around the state this week, the Department of Education is sending out notices to millions of Americans that have defaulted on their student loans. As of September, more than 45 million held outstanding loans totaling $1.67 trillion. Now the government may take part of your paycheck.
What the government is doing is they're saying, hey, you owe us a bunch of money. We're going to take some money back from you. How? We are going to garnish your wages.
Up to 15% of a paycheck can be garnished. For older Americans, the government could take a piece of your Social Security.
2 new specialty license plates are now available for purchase in Wisconsin. The governor announcing the new blackout and retro 1970s butter plates are available at most DMVs. Each plate costs $15. Transportation officials estimate they'll bring in more than $25 million during the first 3 years.
Winona's Ice Park is drawing visitors with its stunning frozen formations and challenging climbs. Local ice farmers maintain this winter attraction using 2,000 feet of piping from a fire hydrant to create the ice walls. The park is one of only 5 ice parks in the United States. Ice climbers travel from across the nation to scale the frozen walls using specialized equipment.
People travel from all over the country to come here and have this activity that it wouldn't be here if we didn't make it. And so we put a lot of heart and soul into it. And passion, but when you see how happy it makes people, it's awesome.
The ice park is accessible with a 15 to 20-minute hike up the bluff.
Still to come tonight, the latest U.S. military action in the Caribbean, plus President Trump's meeting with top oil executives.
And Luigi Mangione back in court with lawyers challenging charges that could carry the death penalty.
Starting at 5 a.m., La Crosse hosting another discussion for the city admin role, and Huchacoma Awards at the Golden Globes, plus Art is tracking a milder Monday. We'll see you Monday starting at 5 a.m.
The U.S. military today seized a 5th oil tanker linked to Venezuela.
Charlie De Agata and Nancy Cortez report on the Trump administration's efforts to take control of the country's oil industry.
Video shows commandos approaching the ship known as the Alina by helicopter overnight, taking up positions on deck, guns drawn. One rolls a stun grenade toward the door, followed by an explosion. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem said the ship suspected of carrying embargoed oil was attempting to evade U.S. forces. It comes just days after the U.S. tracked and seized a tanker being guarded by Russian ships in the North Atlantic.
The fact is that the Russian ships, it was a submarine and a destroyer. They both left very quickly when we arrived.
The U.S. has now seized 3 tankers in the last 3 days, including the Sophia, full of oil and now headed to the United States.
I'm Nancy Cordes at the White House, where President Trump promised a room full of oil titans today that riches await them in Venezuela.
We'll be open for business almost immediately.
ExxonMobil's CEO sounded more cautious.
Today, it's uninvestable.
Modernizing Venezuela's oil infrastructure would cost an estimated $180 billion and take 15 years in a country still viewed as unstable. ConocoPhillips CEO Ryan Lance.
We've been on the other end of that despot regime a long time.
Today, Trump vowed to protect anyone who takes the risk.
How do you provide total security guarantees to these companies without putting U.S. boots on the ground?
Well, we're going to work with the Venezuelan leaders and people, and we're going to have a very safe group.
Trump also ramped up his threats to take Greenland, a territory of Denmark.
The fact that they had a boat land there 500 years ago doesn't mean that they own the land. I'm sure we had lots of boats go there also.
Trump added that he can annex Greenland the easy way or the hard way. Denmark says the hard way would destroy the NATO alliance. Nancy Cordes, CBS News, the White House.
Luigi Mangione appeared back in court today. Mangione is charged with killing a United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson. Defense attorneys asked a judge to dismiss 2 charges, including a murder charge that carries the death penalty. The judge didn't rule today, but said her decision on the death penalty option will determine when the trial begins. The judge set another hearing for January 30th and said she will try to issue her ruling by then.
The U.S. economy added 50,000 jobs last month. That's according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. It's down from the 64,000 added in November and falls short of the 55,000 economists expected. Experts say inflation and high interest rates are to blame.
A Pennsylvania man is accused of stealing more than 100 sets of human remains. Authorities say Jonathan Gerlach was caught robbing a grave in Delaware County, Pennsylvania. While searching his house, more than 100 full or partial sets of human remains were found. Gerlach's bail is set at $1 million.
We will have more news ahead.
But first.
Yeah, we do have some light snow and even some snow showers for Saturday, along with colder temperatures. But the good news is it's just going to be what we expect to see temperature-wise for January. We'll break all that down coming up on your First Warn Weather Update after the break. Yeah, with the amount of rainfall that we saw yesterday, basically some areas picked up 1.5 inches to even 2 inches. La Crosse actually picked up 0.96 in one 24-hour period, so that was setting a record for yesterday. Total was about 1.17. So all that on frozen ground. Thankfully, we didn't have much of a snowpack. We did have runoff. A lot of other creeks and small rivers did start rising. The one that has caused a little bit of a concern would be Kickapoo River. Right now, Lafarge has actually come back down. We're still expecting these numbers to come up to action stage for Reedstown, Gazemelt, and Steuben, but right now I think this might be a little bit too high given the amount of flow that came into Lafarge, so we'll see. They may not quite get to action, but that's the one that was near Bankful. It'll slowly begin to come down too. So all the other ones have come up but are coming back down because we're not going to see a lot more precipitation. We are going to have snowfall coming, but not a lot in amount of snow either. As you can see it out to the west, it's just starting to develop west of Minneapolis. Overall temperatures have fallen back into the 20s for the most part. They'll probably stay right there overnight as the cloud cover now has pretty much increased overhead. As you track that out, that band actually will probably get close to Eau Claire after about 3:34. You can see right on the doorstep. There could be a few showers ahead of this line, but this line is very narrow, maybe just about 2.5 hours of light snow. By the time you get to about 5:30, it's past Eau Claire. La Crosse, you get it right at about 5, and then it gets to the east as late as maybe 7, probably closer to about 6. And then as you go further east of the area, eventually it'll be out of our viewing areas. We get closer to about 8 a.m. at the latest. We will have a little bit of a break. It could be some sunshine for some areas briefly in the late morning to early afternoon hours, But as this pushes east, it's going to combine with a system to the south that's really going to develop a really deep low pressure system over the northern Michigan, and that's really going to start wrapping moisture and colder air back into the area in the afternoon. So you're going to start seeing the shower activity pick up probably by 2 p.m. for La Crosse, Eau Claire up to Rusk County. By 3 to 4, it's pretty much across a lot of the area north of I-90. It'll continue through the evening hour, but you will see a decreasing trend in coverage as we get towards the evening. The winds will be a factor, and note, the temperatures fall throughout the day. So we'll start at the mid to upper 20s during the day, early in the day. By the time we get to sunset, we're probably into the upper teens, low 20s. So nothing too crazy for early January, but it will be much colder than we've had recently. Snow amounts, there's a possibility some of these areas, especially if you get a couple of these snow showers in the afternoon, you could get up to 2 inches. This is going all the way from late tonight all the way through about 10 p.m. But overall, it's going to be light amounts. Some reduction in visibility, given you could have a snow shower come down and some gusty winds along with it. Overall, Sunday looks dry, but there is another little weak wave coming through that could clip the area to the north right there. It's just a weak wave, so maybe Eau Claire up to Rusk County could see a little flakes of snow late Sunday around sunset to maybe just early evening. That pushes east. We get more mild as we go to Monday and Tuesday. Tuesday is the next one they'll keep an eye on. This looks to be more of a rain, maybe snow mix. So once again, as our temperatures climb up, because Sunday we're going to be average, about mid-20s, but then once we go towards Monday, we're going to be back into 30s and potentially into the 40s. As you start off in the 20s, once again, it's going to be fairly mild. But since we don't have a lot of snow cover on the ground, it's not going to be hard to get some 40 degrees all the way almost up to Eau Claire come Monday. And that's just the start of a mild stretch until Wednesday, before then we get back to average. And even a colder system comes through Thursday and Friday to drop our high temperatures for once. Will be below average as we go to next Saturday too, and there will be some snow opportunities too there. But none of those systems next week look significant at this point. So once again, not too bad for January. I mean, we could be seeing a lot of negative numbers right now, but we have not so much snow on the ground, and it's been in 20s and 30s for the most part.
Yeah, it's been mild for January
so far.
standards.
Yes.
Thank you, Greg. Coming up next in sports, playing for a cause. See how communities came together for a special night in Onalaska. Plus, it's almost time for the 213th meeting between the Packers and Bears. Hear from some of the guys in the trenches ahead of tomorrow's big game. Jacob is next.
Covering all the exciting action from your community. Here's News 8 Now Sports with Jacob Lenzendorf.
Well, some things are bigger than sports, and that motto was on display earlier this evening at Onalaska High School as rivals came together to help raise money for a great cause. The Stronger Together fundraiser took place this evening to support Onalaska teacher and head girls basketball coach Tom Cowley. Coach Cowley has non-Hodgkin's lymphoma but has battled through the season and has not missed a game. Shirts were sold, and there was a miracle minute during the boys and girls half times. All right, to the game now. A couple teams on winning streaks facing off early first half. Macy Klein doing what she does best with a steal and layup. And on the other end, the senior Charlie Casey going to step into a mid-range jumper for Holman. But then the home side starts to settle in. Finley Walters hitting Kayla Kettlehut in the corner, and she drills it. That gives Anna a 2-point lead. Then Kettlehut is going to return the favor with an assist to Walters, who steps into the triple, and she will connect. Toppers seizing momentum at this point, and not much later, Olivia Pacell with the fancy dribbling that leads to a great pass to Coach Cowley's daughter Avery for the layup, and she converts. Special night in Hilltopper country as they pick up the 15-point victory. On the boys' side, Central playing host to Tomah. Central jumped out to a 21-4 lead thanks in part to Gabe Service, the junior, splashing a few threes. And he getting his teammates involved as well. The pass to Ezra Weezy for the hoop and the harm down low. Tomah turned to Quinn Gerke for answers, and he found him on the left wing. Here he hits the three, and soon after he'll take on Service with the drive, spin, and finish for a 3-point play. But Central wasn't going to let that lead slip away. Will Schilling gets his man in the air before he drains the pull-up baseline J. Service leads away with 24, and Central wins it 67-48. It was a special day for former UW La Crosse head football coach Matt Janis as he was introduced as head coach at Northern Michigan. Janis thanking his family for all their support throughout his journey as a coach and praised Northern Michigan's commitment to winning in Marquette and the community's passion for football. He says there's a long road ahead, but he's excited for what's to come in his press conference.
I want to create an experience for our players that prioritizes their development,
their relationships, and their involvement, not just within the football program, but within this university and within this city. And the ultimate goal of the culture of this football program is simple: to love what you do, to love where you get to do it at, and who you get to do that with.
Wise words indeed. Janice left lacrosse with the second highest winning percentage in program history, behind only Roger Herring. And if the countdown wasn't on before, it is now. We're less than 24 hours away from the Packers and Bears meeting in the wild card round. Here's a look at the team at the airport from earlier today before they left for the Windy City. One major area of emphasis that the Green and Gold will focus on is trying to limit yardage on the ground by the Bears, especially after Derrick Henry ran wild for 216 yards just a couple weeks ago.
We know teams going to try to run on us, but we're not letting that happen. I'm saying right now, we're not letting it happen.
I don't really care about what other teams
Sure.
do well. Like I said, I like us. We do our job and line up where we're supposed to be. I like us.
They try to get the ball on the perimeter. Those guys, they pride themselves on getting the ball on the perimeter, and they want to run downhill at you as well to just see what you have up front. So we just, as a defensive line, we have to be stout up front and be able to just stop those backs in the back because they have some good backs.
Kickoff set for tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Again, available only on Prime Video. Tomorrow at noon, the Badger men's basketball team will look to hand Michigan their first loss of the season in Ann Arbor. Wolverines 19.5-point favorites. You can catch that game right here on News 8. Bucks continuing their trip out west, taking on the Lakers. At last check, they were up 6 on Los Angeles. Kevin Porter Jr., A.J. Green leading the way in scoring for Milwaukee. And a check on the Peach Bowl tonight down in Atlanta. A dominating performance from the Hoosiers from the start. They'll take on Miami in the title game on January 19th. Guys, I mean, that was quite the showing. They're going to play in Miami, so probably a lot of Miami fans, but also Indiana fans travel well too. So we'll see if they can be an upset, but Indiana looks unstoppable right now.
Yeah, you thought maybe the Alabama win the week before was a fluke, but no, another lopsided win for Indiana. They look like every bit the real deal.
Yeah, we were all talking. We're all going to pick.
Yep, we're rooting for the Midwest.
And shout out Blake Thierry of Prairie du Chien, also on the team as well, redshirt this year. So very cool to have a local connection there.
For sure. Thanks Jacob.
All right, more news right after this.
Expect more from News 8 Now. Thanks for watching.
A sweet moment for basketball fans in an otherwise sour night in Chicago. During a game delay between the Heat and Bulls, the court became unplayable due to moisture on the court.
So that's when Bulls mascot Benny the Bull challenged Miami's Tyler Hero to a half-court shooting contest. And on the very first try, Benny nails a backwards one-handed shot from half court. And so that had to force Hero to just admit defeat right there before even trying himself. The game was eventually postponed with a new date not yet announced.
Wait, I'm sorry, I missed it. Why was there moisture on the court?
Well, I guess it would be something with the building.
Like a leaky AC unit?
Yeah, so like some condensation was developing. And so
I was thinking too much sweat or something. Slipping all over the place.
Maybe mixing with some actual
sweat.
condensation as well.
Yeah.
But Benny, he's got some skills. Might be the most talented Chicago Bull in that entire arena.
Oh, okay.
Because the Bulls are having a very bad year.
Yeah, I got what you were doing there. What a moment for him. All right, Greg has a final look at your forecast right after this.
We're going to have snow tomorrow. It's definitely going to feel more like, well, January tomorrow, but mid to upper 20s. So snow showers, breezy, and but 40s are back next week. So
there you go.
Good news, yeah. Thanks for joining us at 10.
Have a great weekend.